As a little kid, I had dreams, and they pretty much changed every other week. I first dreamt of being She-Ra, the Princess Power. Now, for some of you that might be younger, you're going, I don't even know who She-Ra is. She was kind of the sequel to Wonder Woman, but in between before Wonder Woman came back, right? And I was gonna save the world from this unknown enemy. And then I decided, you know what, I actually wanna be Nancy Drew. I started getting into books, and I really loved mysteries, and I wanted to solve all these greatest mysteries, and because I loved putting puzzle pieces together. And then Little House on the Prairie came along, and I wanted to be Laura Ingalls Wilder. And I wanted to stand up in front of a whole bunch of kids and teach them and inspire them. And then in 5th grade, I don't know if any of you ever remember this TV show called The Voyage of the Mimi, but it had a really good-looking boy on it whose name was Ben Affleck. And I really wanted to sail the world with Ben Affleck and be a marine biologist and study humpback whales. I had dreams as a kid. You have dreams. What's your dream as a kid? What did you dream of being when you grew up? I just want you really quickly to share at your table if you remember what that is. And don't be afraid. You can say it was a baseball player. You can say it was a turtle, right? But what was your dream as a kid? Just shout it out at your table with each other right now. What did you dream about? Go for it. I love when we can go back to our childhood and remember those dreams. And some of you might say, oh my gosh, it will never, ever happen for me. But I'm here to tell you that you can dream again. That you can be as alive as you were as a kid dreaming. Know that even if you can't remember what you dreamt about as a kid, I promise you, you did have a dream. Because I go around and I have the pleasure of working in children's ministry and traveling the world doing mission trips. And every time I run into a kid, that's the question I ask them. What do you dream about? And I will tell you, even when I'm overseas in Africa, kids who have very little, they still have one thing. They have dreams. They have dreams. And so the truth is that you were born a dreamer. It is in your DNA to be a dreamer. I want you to turn to the person to your left and your right and look them in the eye and say, you were born a dreamer. Go for it. We were all born dreamers. There's not one of you that came out of your mother's womb and the doctor looked at you and went, no, this one's just gonna not have any dreams. But sadly, and Missy kind of alluded it into her speech, that along the journey we stop dreaming. Essentially, our dreams start to fade. I remember noticing this especially. I have a beautiful, beautiful niece who I absolutely adore, and I get to be an active auntie in her life. And when she comes over to my house, one of the rituals that we have when I tucked her in was we would say our prayers, and then I would ask her the question, who are you? And as a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old, she would give me this laundry list of who she was. I'm an astronaut. I'm a cowgirl. I'm a teacher. I'm a chef. I'm a writer. Anything she could think of, and I essentially think it was just to postpone bedtime, right? And then when she got to be about 8, 9-ish, and close to 10, I started noticing something. That even though her bedtime was getting postponed longer, her list actually was getting shorter. Until eventually one night, I asked her, who are you? And she said, I don't know. And it broke my heart that this little girl was born a dreamer and had already lost part of her dreams. When did your dreams start to fade? When did you start to think that you had to be in the real world and let go of all that? I have been a journaler since I have been in 3rd grade. And December, I decided that I would go back and reread my journals. I'm not letting anybody else read my journals. But I went back and I reread them. And outside of the boy drama that I had in high school, which will forever go down in my grave with me, one of the things I noticed was about age 12, I stopped dreaming. I stopped dreaming. That little girl that you saw on the screen started getting told, you have to think realistically. You're really not good at science, so marine biology, probably not going to work for you. You know, you really should quiet down a little bit because people don't like it when you're uber loud and uber excited. And my dreams began to fade. Maybe you're in that boat. Maybe you have a friend in that boat. Maybe you have a child in that boat. And so I began to ask myself 2 questions. I started asking, why do we stop dreaming big and start playing small? Why do we as women, as a society, stop dreaming and start playing it small and safe? And the second question is, how do we rediscover our dreams?